Hello there and welcome to another Bobeats synthesizer review, and today we are checking out the new Minimal from Sonicware. And a big thank you to Sonicware for sending over a unit so I could make a review for you all. Now, the Minimal might look like a live synth, but it's actually part of their new Deconstruct series. And I want to get this across clearly. The live series had its ups and downs. Some of the devices were not very good, and some were really good, like the Lo-Fi 12, for example. That was a hit in my book anyway. And I must say that the Minimal is probably the best sounding and most well-designed product from Sonicware to date. I think it's that good. So what is Minimal? Well, it's an acid groove box. It has a drum machine portion that is sample based, and it has a one voice little bass synthesizer, which is virtual analog or analog modeling. And I think it makes a lot of sense to compare it with Roland's T8. Do you remember that small, compact little synthesizer that they made that had both a drum machine and a bass synth? And this is very similar, but in a larger form factor, more knobs, more functions, and it can also sample. It's not really a sampler, don't think of it as a sampler, but it can sample either using USB or the line input, but it has a very small sample memory. It's so small in terms of total sample length that it's not even meaningful to talk about. Now, it's important to note that while Minimal is marketed towards people making techno, it can also be used to make other kinds of music, because you can basically load whatever sample you want or sample into it and basically use it as a little groove box. And we of course need to talk about the elephant in the room here. It is very similar to the Live series. It shares the same physical design here. I can't see any big difference or feel any big difference to the Livens. Still got this plastic enclosure. It's okay in terms of build quality. It's not as good as a Korg Volca. Korg Volcas are actually very, very durable. This feels less durable, but it's all right. I mean, I haven't had any of my Live synths break on me. And in terms of feel, the knobs feel all right. And the actual keys feel quite responsive and quite good to play, even though they're not real keyboard keys. And these buttons here are actually hard plastic and they feel pretty good. And these ones here are more rubbery. And then we have the mini knobs here, which, you know, they are what they are. But overall, the interface isn't too crowded. Even if you have larger hands than me, it should be fine to use. Oh, and also, just like on the Livens, there is a speaker, which actually sounds surprisingly good. And just like the Live series, it's battery powered. It requires 6 AA batteries. And in terms of I/O, we have MIDI and sync in and out. We have USB. You can sample over USB as well, and you can use it for data connections. You can transfer files to and from the Minimal. And then we have line input, line output, and headphones out. And if you want to transfer files, you can basically connect it using USB to a computer and then mount it as a little hard drive, and then you can access the files on it. Minimal has 10 sample-based tracks and one synth part with a one voice bass synth, and the last one, track number 10 here, is supposed to be used for loops, and you can actually turn on time stretching for it as well to keep the loop in tempo. So in the default view, we can select different tracks just pressing here, so we can put down a kick. We can add in some fills. We can add in a loop. And then we can play something using the bass synth. And there's this little keyboard icon here, so we can use the entire keyboard here in order to play. And when we are playing with the bass synth, we have these controls here. Cutoff control, resonance control, envelope here for the filter, decay, accent, and drive. And when we want to record, just press record here. And we can record automation. There's also this drive parameter that does nothing, but if I turn on drive, and there's also these three controls over here. It's basically like a 3-band EQ with control over low, mid, and high. And they're applied to the drums at the moment. And there's also this button here, which turn on the performance effect. And if we check here, you can set it to be a filter, you can set it to be a phaser, you can set it to be distortion. The distortion doesn't sound that good, I think. Very, very lo-fi and not in a very pleasant way. There's also a beat repeat and a sort of ducker, like basically like some sort of side chaining. It sounds all right, but I personally like the phaser and the looper the most, and also the filter works really well. So if we just turn on the filter here, we use this knob here to engage it. And when we get tired of listening to the same thing, we can just hit function and then copy and press here. So now we've copied the first pattern from page 1 to page 2. So there are 4 pages basically, or as they call it here, variations. So there are 4 variations. Each variation can be 16 steps long, so 64 steps in total, but you can also have the tracks running at slower speeds. And yes, you can set individual start points for the tracks and individual length per track. So for each individual sample-based track and the bass track, you can have them at different length, meaning that you can do, I guess, I'm not sure if you can do polyrhythms, but at least polymeter. So now when we are in pattern B, we can just basically remove all of the steps here. And also if you want to clear some of the automation, you can just hold clear here, and then you can remove it like so if you want to. I think there's faster ways to do it as well. I can't remember all of the commands here, but it's quite quick and intuitive. And while these knobs are used only for the bass synthesizer, And these knobs over here are used for the individual sample-based tracks. So here we can select different sounds, different tuning, tone control, which is usually a filter, and then we can move, basically nudge steps back and forward. We can change the attack time, decay time, reverb, delay, sense, and panning, and overall level for that track. So here I have a little rim shot here, and you barely can hear it in the mix, but I'm going to turn it up, and I'm going to just pan it. Can you hear it? Left and right. And we're going to turn up the reverb send for individual. So I turned up individual reverb sends per step, so you can basically lock whatever you want, and we can turn down the level a bit. So I recorded a new bass part. I should probably also show you the time stretching. So here we have a little beat, 128 BPMs. We got a loop playing on track number 10 here. And if I turn down the tempo to 110, for example, you can hear the loop is not stretching. But if I hit function, hit sample, and I turn on time stretching, we got the loop playing in tempo. And we can go faster as well. And we can even record some automation to the pitch here, and it's staying relatively in tempo. And now is probably a good time to talk about the bass synthesizer. So the bass synth actually has different waveforms that you can choose between. And you can also add in a sub bass. And using the level here, we increase it. You can get really beefy. You can actually lock the different oscillator types here to different steps. So we can just hold down a step here and we can change some of the oscillators here to something else. And just show you a little bit more on the parameter locking side of things. Let's go to a new pattern. This is one of the preset patterns. Sounds really good. It really shows off how good this device can sound. But that's the preset, and we're gonna do what basically any real synth nerd does with presets, and that is deleting them. So we've changed the default rim shot into a synth sound. And now I'm gonna sound lock, so create a different sound here on this step. So here was just the kick drum and one of the tracks here with a bunch of samples locked to different steps. And why not try and use the bass synth for a lead sound instead? So you use these buttons here to go octave up and down, also super well designed. And I also want to note that it comes with a lot of different drum kits. These are all super curated and they sound quite good. When it comes to sampling into it, and I want to be really clear here, this is not a sampler in the sense that you can sample a lot. It only has a few sample slots that you can save to and a pretty limited memory. You can sample one-shots and play them back chromatically. There is no polyphonic sample playback that I know of. That could have been really cool on a device like this as well. And when you sample a loop, you do it to track number 10 and you can then time stretch it to fit with the BPM. However, this is not a looper. You can't have like an ongoing recording, looping stuff live. And I want to get across that the sampling portion is actually something they can improve a lot, because from what I can tell, you can't sample while the device is playing. So I can't have a beat running on the device and sample a loop over it. So if I'm playing the guitar, I have to sample that playing and then I can play it back with the beat on the device. I haven't figured out any other way to do it. Maybe there is, maybe I'm just not understanding it, but I really want to be able to sample while the beat is going on in the background, because yeah, that's just something that you need to be able to do, I think. So let's say I want to sample something from the sequential form. I would just select the track, I would hit function and sampling, and here we can now see the level of the incoming audio. You can also set a recording threshold. That's what we got here. We press record and it starts recording, and I can press record again, and now I can preview. And then I press OK, and then I have to select where I want to save it. Now, this is also something I want to critique. You're saving to slots, and it can be a little bit difficult figuring out where you actually saved the sample. I'm not sure how to make it more clear, but I found it quite difficult sometimes to find my sample after I have recorded it, because I managed to find my sample. And we can apply some reverb and some delay. So while sampling both in mono and stereo works, the sample memory is pretty small and it could be easier to understand where I'm saving a sample. Maybe perhaps when I record a sample, it should be auto-loaded onto that track. I'm not entirely sure, but I think they need to work a little bit more on that. So let me end with some final thoughts about Minimal. Firstly, I think it's really well designed. I think it's super easy to get going with, have some fun with, create some beats, add some bass, make some acid techno, minimal techno, whatever you want to make. From what I understand, it's priced around $299 US, which in this economy it's quite good. And also it's quite good as a drum machine. If you don't want to use it as a groovebox, you can definitely use it as just kind of a 808 style or 909 style drum machine. But it's not super versatile, and don't expect to use it to make full tracks on it. But there's also a few things I don't like. For example, the parameter automation. So if you're locking something per step, that works really well. But if you're recording parameter automation, sometimes it's less than smooth. It becomes very stepped because it's locked per step and it's not like a curve with a smoothness to it, and sometimes that's quite annoying. While the time stretching on track number 10 works really well and it's actually quite useful, the actual sampling is very basic. The fact that you can't record a loop while the device is playing, that's quite annoying. That's something that I want to see changed. There's also no per step probability, so a percentage-based probability per step to have that step trigger. That would be really nice. Actual saving of samples is quite confusing. That really annoys me, makes sampling less appealing to me on this device. There are also quite a lot of clicks and pops when you engage the master performance effect and also the drive. So when you engage it, it can click, create this click noise, and when you disengage it, it's the same sometimes. It depends a little bit on what you're doing and which effect it is, but I'm pretty sure that they can solve this with future firmware. But beyond this, I think that the new Deconstruct series from Sonicware is a step in the right direction. It's accessible, it's fun. Gone are the days of these paper overlays that you put on the Live and synths. And I do hope that this is the first in a new line of products because I quite like it. So hope you all have a great day. Talk to you all later.